I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength and face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help when no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace.
All right, welcome, chat. The boys are back in town. It is time for Dirt Sheet Radio Thanksgiving special, where we look at this episode number 269. Can I get a nice, by the way, on that? 269 Dynamite. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, boys. But yes, I am Nick Larocco. Happy Neeksgiving, and I am joined by some awesome people, but I'm also joined, before we get to them, with an amazing song. We got a two-parter right before this, too. That's Lore of the Fighter, a two-part song on Saskia Creations. Go check that out on YouTube. Go check that out on Spotify. It is absolutely everywhere you want music. This, I believe, is Lore of the Fighter. Is this Rise Up?
I think so.
Or maybe Doubt?
No, Doubt was
no, this is, yeah. So go check both of those out. They're awesome bangers of songs. But yes, like I said, this is Nick Larocco. We're going to be talking Dynamite. I'm going to throw this on over to my man. You remember him from way back when we first started doing the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Caesar.
How's it going, guys? As always, sitting down with these two gentlemen and the one behind the camera, Mr. John Scudero, hanging out, talking about AEW Dynamite. But as always, besides me and besides Neek, we've got the man himself, Mr. Robbie Giving.
Oh, yes, it is Robbie back here once again. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there who's going to be celebrating that tomorrow in America. And also, AEW Dynamite Thanksgiving Eve. Oh, my goodness gracious. What an episode. Can't wait to dig into this shit.
Woo!
Hey, like the Thanksgiving feast of tomorrow, let's dig right into it. We had an amazing banger card all the way through, but as usual, let's look right at that main event. We had Darby Allin taking on Brody King. These guys are representing the Gold League for the Continental Classic Round Robin Tournament. That was a mouthful, but hey, listen. Brody King's a freaking beast, and Darby Allin is perpetually on the verge of death, but you know what? He wouldn't have it any other way. Skullface Man did his best up against Brody, but honestly, it just wasn't enough, and Brody King secured another victory over Darby Allin. Great match. You definitely saw the respect before and after. One of the most important parts of this match, though, we had Claudio Castagnoli getting involved there. Claudio and Darby haven't had their rivalry as of recent with the Death Riders versus AEW as a whole. And Brody King actually came right back into the ringside area to go and help the man he gave respect to. And we have a match confirmation that Brody King and Claudio Castagnoli will be taking each other on next week in a Battle of the Behemoths that they were calling it. Guys, what do we think of this match, Robbie?
That match entirely, every time Brody and Darby get together, no matter where it's at, they always have a banger of a match. And I love the factor too of they're selling Darby's injuries in the hands of the Death Riders. That did indeed play factor into this match. Storytelling at its best. Darby kept trying to fight. He was the underdog in this match, but those injuries, it was basically enough for Darby to basically lose to Brody King. Unfortunately, if Darby in the character line was 100%, we would have had a lot more, but we got what we got. It was a pretty solid match, in my opinion. And now we are building up to Brody protecting Claudio, which a lot of people don't. If a lot of people were probably just like new and tuning in, Darby and Brody go way back. So obviously it made sense, in my opinion, that Brody actually did turn back and try to help Darby out when it came to Claudio. But now Claudio versus Brody next week for the second week of the Continental Classic, that is going to be a banger, in my opinion, and it is going to be a fun match. And to me, great main event. Love where the Continental Classic is going by far.
Absolutely. Caesar?
Honestly, every time I see Darby in the ring, I just can't figure out how he still goes. Like, there's some stuff I've seen him do that my first thought is, well, I'd be in the hospital in like 2 or 3 tries of said move. But I do agree with both of you. Those two, whenever they put on a match, you think, oh, small dude, big guy. No, they go. Whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, anything, it's always going to be an epic match. Or even just a showdown. Something, anything. But as for the ending, though, yeah, I was pretty stoked. Like, yeah, Claudio came through the crowd with a chair, of course, missing his shirt like always, because that's just his thing. No one knows where shirts go. Like, the budget doesn't include shirts or something. And of course, you know, Brody, I was pretty stoked on that. He came back through and was just like, you touch him, I kill you kind of vibe. I mean, they're not best friends, but in that moment, they were on the same side. So kudos to Brody for that.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people online and in the very short amount of time since the show's ended. And a lot of people online are saying, is this a situation where it's, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Or is this a thing where Darby and Brody have each other's respect, you know? So we'll see. But I have this, because this is also something we've seen a lot online discourse. It's Darby, basically. I mean, come on, every week, this is Darby.
Yeah, it's Darby being a monster. Small stature, but big monster.
Speaking of monster, though, we had that moment right at the very start of the match where Darby tried to kick and Brody just flipped him 450 degrees up in the air and away, just landing right on those injured ribs. Gosh, Brody is just a force to be reckoned with. And like what, we had like 250-pound differential between these two guys?
At least, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Brody's like 3, maybe? No. To be like 280 and 320 is somewhere in that bracket.
And then around Darby, he's like 160 to 180 as well. So he's
a
very
buck 75.
So there's a big
always pointed out when it comes to the ring. So
yes, it's just a big mismatch when it comes to the weight divisions. But remember, Darby has never cared about that. Darby just wanted to fight. And again, this was a great match on a great episode of Dynamite. I'd say every match honestly delivered one way or another tonight.
Oh yeah, no.
For sure.
You'd have a hard time trying to find a bad match.
Yeah.
Whether it was epic moments or just like a good one-on-one throwdown.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Chicago got to eat good tonight for Thanksgiving. And, you know, when I'm looking at the card tonight, guys, I think we're going to really have a tough time figuring out Jobber of the Night. No. Everyone gave it their all. And it was
ending when they cut off the show. That's the Jobber.
Absolutely. But you know what? We also have the door open now. Ooh. Could we potentially in the near future see House of Black versus the Death Riders?
Oh,
maybe
for sure.
Darby too.
I definitely think that too.
because there's a lot of room there. You know, you of course got Buddy, you got Malachi, you got Brody, and then on the Death Rider side, Moxley, Claudio, Pac, Wheeler Yuta. Sheesh, I'm thinking like, Darby could even become like almost one of those unofficial House of Black members, like an associate, kind of like what Sky Blue is with them. And you know, each side also has, you know, a strong female wrestler. You got Julia Hart on one side, you got Maria Shafir on the other.
I mean, I don't know if this has happened, so no one shoot me in the comments, but Pac versus Buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me that. I don't even care. Give me that.
I believe it's happened at least once or twice in WWE. If I'm not recalling.
Oh, that doesn't count though.
Let's see.
Talking on this side of the fence.
We did on this side of the fence. I believe we did get a match of that August of 2022. It looks like August 6th.
Hey, run it back. It's been 2 years.
Absolutely,
it's
been a while.
My credit card says at a pay-per-view. I don't care. Give it.
Yeah, I'll get to a point that was 2 years in the making in a little bit once we get to that part of the show. But yeah, this was an amazing match. If you are into some hard-hitting action that goes to the outside, isn't afraid of getting gritty and dirty with it, or if you want to see what Brody King did to knock the feet out, just like Raven almost did at WrestleMania X7, you want to check out this main event and this match.
I still can't believe that happened. When it came back, I was like watching, and I'm like, did something go wrong on my end? Because I know sometimes on my end the feed gets weird.
Chat, if you missed it, I made sure I shared it on my page. Go to Dirt Sheet Radio, look up Nick LaRocco, and hey, while you're at it, give me a follow. Shameless plug.
Like.
Exactly. Like Robbie said, make sure you give me a like. I appreciate it.
Oh, damn.
But fellas, do we have anything else to throw out there for that main event?
I'm just going to say, like everyone here, and like Robbie said a second ago, next week, Battle of the Behemoths. Let's just go.
Yeah,
Everyone back up. A building's about to get knocked over.
I want to see how many times Claudio can swing Brody King around. I just want to see it.
Plot twist.
Right.
Brody swings him.
Ooh. Wow. Dare I say we might even potentially get one of those an AEW style ring breakage moment.
I don't know if I'd want to do it those two.
Yeah, if you're going to ever do it, Brody King has to be one of the two.
Amen to that.
But yeah, at the end of this, for the Gold League, Brody King ended up getting 3 points for his victory over Darby, and it was quite the decisive one at that. This was also predicted by the one and only Mama LaRocco, so shout out to her. She immediately said Brody King was going to be it. Yeah, she was been on the money. Absolutely. Yeah, she was on the money for all her picks for this so far. So
man.
See if that carries over for Collision.
She knows things.
Yeah. Shout out to her also, just exactly a reference to our WCW cast. She just randomly called out Bunkhouse Buck recently, so we're going to start referencing him a lot more for no reason.
Man. She's throwing blows left, right, and center.
Throwing deep cuts out there.
Buck.
Yes. But hey, guys, if you want, let's take it right back to the start of the show.
Yeah. Let's do it. First match.
Yeah, first match. Like we said, this was AEW Dynamite number 269, Thanksgiving Eve special. They tend to do these in Chicago, Illinois. This time, yes, thank you, Caesar. And this time around, they're doing it at the Wintrust Arena. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the show. But you know who did make it to the show? The Hurt Syndicate. Following another November Rain music video, AEW's really getting their money's worth off Guns N' Roses here.
Yeah.
The Hurt Syndicate kicked off the show, and oh my gosh, guys, the aura that those three guys have alone is just absolutely incredible.
We have the picture of the three of them. There we go. That, yes.
Three badasses right there in that picture, guys. You can't get any better than that.
What's even better is just Bobby's just standing there, like thinking about like dumb crap, probably. But like the aura is redonk.
No, for sure.
Which is great. But the chant we got for that was something.
Yeah, hey, you know, like MVP said, they come here to take championship titles, and that's exactly what Shelty B wants to do when it comes to that Continental crown. And you know, MVP really got the crowd going by calling Shelton Benjamin, you know, saying like he's standing in between Walter Payton and then looking at Bobby Lashley and saying Michael Jordan, two of the biggest legends in Chicago sports. Like, oh man, you can't get much better than that over here. I'm just saying. And yeah, if you're going to be comparing anyone over there, You have to compare those two. And shout out to Mama Laraco, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Hey,
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
it's always a blast seeing her pop in.
Absolutely, always with the cameos. But yeah, guys, we had the opening match for the Blue League. This was Shelton Benjamin taking on Mark Briscoe. And yeah, another amazing match. Seeing Shelton Benjamin out there made me 100% realize this is the guy that I want to take. Maybe not even the whole tournament, but definitely take the Blue League. I cannot get enough of him in AEW and him just being an absolute machine.
Him being him.
Exactly. He is him. He leapt up to the top rope, threw Mark Briscoe across the ring like it was nothing. And don't get me wrong, Mark Briscoe is a fantastic competitor. He was fighting back with that redneck kung fu. He did the froggy bow to the monstrous tank of Shelton Benjamin, but it just wasn't enough. He got overwhelmed and overpowered by Shelty B, getting a victory in 11 minutes and 44 seconds. Shelton Benjamin getting the first 3 points for the Blue League. Guys, what did we think of this match? Robbie?
Unfortunately, right when Briscoe hit the froggy bow, that's when my feed cut out. But for what I was getting to see, it was a great match and everything. I just didn't get to see the finish to it. But Shelton and Briscoe, they brought it to each other. Honestly, I was so hyped to see it was Mark Briscoe versus Shelton Benjamin, to see these two finally face one-on-one. I'm like, this is going to be fun. It's going to be the standards of excellence versus the black belt of Mr. Redneck Kung Fu.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say it, everybody got their money's worth tonight. I just wished I was able to watch the finish. But for what I got to see, pretty damn good match. And I can't wait to see who else is going to be pairing up against Shelton Benjamin in this tournament as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the matches that we can have there, even just throughout both sides of the tournament, you know, both of the leagues, it's going to be incredible. Caesar, what did you think of this match?
This is what sucks about right now watching these Continental Classic matches. It's not, we know these are kind of like, here's like, was it like 10 people altogether? 12.
12.
Yeah. Here's 12 guys, and on their own are amazing talents.
Right.
And then when they're in a competition, you're like, who do I want to pick? I mean, like you guys were saying, you got Shelton, who's amazing as it is, and then Mark Briscoe, who's a whole different animal, cut from a different cloth. So it's like, almost want to say, you just kind of like put your paper down and just let them go. Watch. Get, as you guys said, your money's worth. Because I've watched Shelton back in WWE. I've watched him now, and I don't even know where to go with this one other than just saying, "Wow!" Like,
right.
I'm just curious to see where this goes because they didn't announce the next matches yet, did they? Like 2, but not Shelton's, did they?
No, not for Shelton.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to see who his next opponent is. Of course, it'll be a Blue League, but who?
Yeah, and honestly, too, like, even though Mark Briscoe lost this match, and, you know, we look at how, honestly, I hate to say this, but abysmal his record was in last year's Continental Classic, I don't think he lost a single thing by dropping this match to Shelton Benjamin, because he also had that aura-giving moment where he stood face-to-face at the start with Bobby freaking Lashley.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That was big. And the way Tony Schiavone was talking about how there's not an ounce of fear in Mark Briscoe, I thought that was just the icing on the cake. And this might even lead to something going on down the road for conglomeration and Hurt Syndicate. Who knows?
Ooh, that'd be something. Big Tom with Shelton.
Ooh, yes.
So yeah. I'm excited. I mean, this is only the first 2 weeks of the tournament. I'm getting ready. Not jumping the gun too much yet. Getting my feet wet more than anything.
Right. This was the only Blue League match that we had. So
that's what I'm saying, right? Like imagine Shelton and the Beast being next.
That's gonna be killer, dude.
I mean, Kyle Fletcher, I'm gonna be curious to see him against Okada. That'll be a good one.
Absolutely.
Briscoe
guys,
and Beast.
While I have this Blue League open, I want to get your guys' take. At least right now, you know, we haven't seen everyone wrestle just yet, but prediction-wise, who do you guys think are going to be the top 2 to take it to World's End from this Blue League?
Of the Blue League?
Yeah.
dare I say Fletch and Benjamin?
I could see that.
And for me, I'm also going to say Kyle Fletcher, but I'm also going to say Okada as well. I think it'll be Fletcher and Okada to be taking the Blue League on this one.
You know what's funny? We all kind of got a little bit of a collection in the shiftaroo here because I'm going with Okada and Shelton for my final tip.
Oh, wow. We're just dipping into every pond all of a sudden.
Possibilities. We're mixing up with 3 possibilities. And, that's nothing against, the other guys in this tournament.
No.
I think everyone's going to be, especially
yeah.
this Blue League, are going to have like tremendous showcases. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to be the time for Briscoe or Morthos, and I can see some shenanigans leading to moments with Fletcher and Garcia losing matches.
If we're gonna pick 3, for example, though, I go with Okada, Fletcher, and Benjamin. Oh my God, English.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I think I would pick the exact same 3 too.
If we're
like you said too, and plus also like you said too, with Daniel Garcia, he's also got the TNT title right now too. So obviously stuff would be more planned towards who his next opponent is going to be for the title, and maybe a possible rematch with Jack Perry somewhere along the line. So that would basically have his hands tied up if they don't have anything planned for Garcia for the Continental Classic.
His attention's going to be focused elsewhere. But we talked about the Gold League at the start of the show, so hey, maybe I could pop that graphic up. No, we had another Gold League match. I'll do it then.
Woo!
Yeah.
Spoilers if anyone didn't watch this chat.
What?
Oh, no.
All right, it's now time for Caesar's favorite part of the show where we get to talk about
No.
CEO.
This is my favorite for the actual reason, but I'll let you take it over.
All right, so it's a celebration for Mercedes Moné as the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion and the TBS Champion came out alongside Camille. Both of them, honestly, looking absolutely tremendous tonight.
No, look at Camille. Holy shit. I had
That's
that
what's
once.
sling. Like, oh man. But hey, Monet, she gave credit where credit was due because that match that she had with Statlander was an absolute barn burner. And I gotta give both ladies credit. It was without a doubt one of the the best matches that whole night. And I rewatched it and it was still just as good as I remembered it. And Monet does say that Statlander was one of the greatest, but none compared to the CEO. Mercedes is getting ready to kind of trim the fat, so to speak, because she's had enough, though, of Camille, because she proved that she doesn't even need her with her victory over Statlander. And just as she's getting ready to fire her, Camille says that, no, not today, because she quits. And Camille has now
I need protection, Camille.
Walked out on Mercedes Moné. Guys, what do we think about this? Is Camille going to have some good luck going into a solo run, or is she going to start feuding with the CEO? Is she going to earn her way towards there? Where do we see this, Caesar?
I'm biased. No, let Robbie go first. I'm biased.
All right. That's why I want to get your take, sir.
Oh my God. No, but honestly, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love me some Camille, but like, Mercedes, you're terrible. That's just the short version. I'll be nice about it. Like, isn't that TBS belt supposed to be like open challenges and same with the New Japan belt?
Right.
And then yeah, sure, she did her thing at the pay-per-view, but like going into it, Chris looks like a monster going into it. So it's like, and then the minute I saw Camille grab the mic and tell her, I'm done, I was just like, finally. So
the end of the line.
I was just like, yes. That's all I got.
That's fair. But Robbie, what did you think?
For me, we all seen it coming that eventually Camille and Monet were going to break up, but I honestly did think, and a part of me was going to think that Camille was actually going to kick Monet's ass, then quit.
I was all for that.
So just hearing her say that I'm going to fire you and then say, no, you can't fire me because I quit moment, it's kind of like, to me, that was a little bit underwhelming, in my opinion. But as far as Camille, she didn't need to be a bodyguard for Monet to even begin with. Camille is a great singles competitor. If anybody has watched NWA and knows what Camille was able to do with her women's title run over in the NWA, knows that she can go. She can really go. She just has to work on her promo abilities just a little bit and also learn more how to be on national television as well, considering the NWA wasn't really a national television show with power on their end of the spectrum, because that's first they were on
NWA
YouTube
power.
and they were moved to the CW app. But I can definitely see this leading into eventually. They probably won't do it right away with Camille versus Monet. I think they still have to build Camille a little bit more, but I think they will build Camille to be a complete monster. I mean, the name's in it. The nickname is the Brick House for a reason. Then, as she's mowing over her opponents, that's when they'll pull that trigger. And maybe, I'm actually going to make my prediction right now. If there's anybody that can take that title away from Monet, I think it's going to be Camille.
Yes. I mean, yeah, sure.
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry,
it's
is this
really
on?
getting in there.
Oops. I 100% agree with Robbie's analysis for research purposes.
And honestly, too, I think that's exactly what Camille needs, is from how poorly she's been booked
She's
the
been
last
booked
couple
to
weeks.
stand there.
Yeah, if she's not standing there, she's getting annihilated in 2 minutes when she should be the one annihilating the other wrestler. And she's just been completely demeaned, where if you just started tuning into AEW within the last couple of weeks, you think Camille is nothing more than just fodder, you know? So I think if you want to really establish her and show that she is the Brick House and can be that monster that women's division needs, I think, putting the belt on her, letting her have that open challenge, and just week by week, crushing another woman, killing someone else, waiting for a strong competitor to come and take into the next pay-per-view. I think that's the way that you're going to start getting Camille over. And
hire Neek right now. And I'll hire me to bodyguard Camille. I mean, is this on? Oops.
TK, do it. You got the money. Hire us now.
Hire Neek for the writing, hire me for the bodyguard, and hire Robbie because he needs the money and he deserves to come with us.
Yes, that boy's getting signed to AEW. Let's go.
Why is Robbie getting signed? He's a 99 affiliated overall rating on Fight Forever, AEW's game.
Basically.
They didn't announce it because his character's too OP. So.
And guess what, too? No microtransactions needed either.
Robbie does shooting star presses backwards, going forwards. Don't ask how. That's just how his
I don't even know how. I just do it.
Yeah. By the game.
He is him. He is him. What image is this?
He is him.
But hey, we go on to the next match. He is him. Chris
Hashtag.
Jericho, the Nueve. He defends the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title in Chi-Town up against Big Tom, Tomohiro Ishii. Guys, I don't know if you realize this, but this was, and I don't know if commentary mentioned this either, but this has actually taken place 2 years after they last met at a Thanksgiving Chicago show, where they did it back in Thanksgiving Eve 2022. So
Yeah, they mentioned that.
The big rematch of Thanksgiving Variety in Chi-Town. Jericho and Ishii, oh my gosh, these two old timers, they duked it out, man. They were going all in. They absolutely, yes, thank you, Rotten Doll Face. They were absolutely just hitting each other with everything they had and then some. They went above and beyond. Jericho and Big Tom, Tomohiro Ishii, were both bleeding from the mouth, bleeding from the nose, like
bleeding from everywhere.
Yeah, anywhere you can think of. Like, they had their faces like busted, and you could tell they're going to be puffed up tomorrow for Thanksgiving. From Judas Effect to Judas Effect to Judas Effect into Code Breaker, Ishii just kept kicking out. You can't keep Big Tom down, and wow, what a freaking match. You didn't even need Big Bill or Brian Keith really for this one.
Thank God.
Yeah, it was great to see what both of these guys can do. And in the end, finally, a Judas Effect was able to hit. Ishii dropped, and Jericho got another successful title defense. Yeah, they were just running it back. It was great, though. The abundance of chops, looking and thinking that, like, okay, which guy's chest is going to start bleeding out first? Guys, what do we think of this match, Robbie?
Hey.
For me, in the words of the good old Jim Ross, that match was a slobber knocker.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Jericho did his time in Japan and had worked with Ishii before and had learned and had that knowledge of what a Japanese strong style match was all about. And that's what that was. That was Japanese strong style personified. It played to Ishii's repertoire really well. Chop after chop, slap after slap. At one point, I was going with the slabs. I'm like, oh shoot, who's gonna get knocked the fuck out? At one point, I thought they were gonna go for that Rocky scene with Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, where they both knock each other out. I was waiting for that because they always do that in professional wrestling. But overall, it was a slobber knocker. But you guys already know, even for the fans that are watching right now, who was tuned in for weeks, knows I hate Chris Jericho going over in this match. Everybody knows I don't like Jericho as a Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah, you've sold this now.
I wanted Tomohiro Ishii. I wanted Big Tom to win this because I'm tired of Jericho being Ring of Honor World Champion. I still don't think he represents. He may be Nueve. I'll say that, but he's not
the title.
But he's not the. To me, he doesn't personify what Ring of Honor was all about. That's where it lies for me. I know he's in Terrifier 3. We already know that. I get why they did it. It's just, please put the belt on somebody other than Jericho. Please.
That's fair.
I don't know if you can call these beefs or nitpicky or whatever, but there were a couple times where I know Jericho hates this term, but I think Jericho botched a few of his Judas effects. It looked like he slipped. What's that?
You just made the list.
I mean, it's a privilege, but no, there were a couple of his actual Judas effects that looked like he went to do it, and Tom was not lined up for it. So it hit him in the shoulder, the throat, or the neck, the side of the face, everywhere. And I was like, dude, come on. I'm not saying anything against Jericho about that. I'm just saying that he could have hit them and made sure he was lined up for it instead of slipping. Yes, I know they were bloodied and battered. Yeah, I get that. But it just sucks when Jericho's doing his thing and just wham, and he misses. That's all. So I'm just being nitpicky. The match itself though was amazing. And again, I do agree with both of you. Someone's gonna be purple and then purple tomorrow.
Yeah. No, don't forget too. We had the lovely little Sprout get added to the commentary desk.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think that stuck around too for the rest of the night.
I don't know. Actually, I didn't see.
I think they might have cleared it when they were having the commentary issues, but. All right, chat. Let us know if Little Sprout was still there at the commentary desk. But yeah, what a tremendous match. And even though Jericho did get the win, you can't deny the talents both of these men had throwing it in there.
Exactly,
it was amazing.
And by all means, and I'm also going to get this clear out too. I don't hate Jericho. Everybody, I grew up as a Chris Jericho fan. It's just I don't like the idea of him being Ring of Honor champion. That's all. I love Jericho, but I just don't like the idea. That's all.
If you don't believe Robbie, make sure you go and check out all the nice things he said about Chris Jericho during the opening match of Halloween Havoc 1998, now available on the Dirt Sheet Radio archives. Check it out. Dirt Sheet Radio presents the Halloween Havoc 1998 review.
The first time I actually checked out Jericho was back when he was the original Undisputed Champion. Way back in the early era, 2000, 2001 era. And man, did I ever hate his guts during that little bit of time. Then I eventually learned how things worked. I was like, okay, I see what he's doing, why he's doing it, how he's doing it. So he's been doing it for a while, but I do agree with Robbie. We need to put it on somebody that can actually run with it, not just, hey, look at me, it's a pretty prop. So
yeah, that, and also to me, it's got to be somebody that is either an up-and-coming Ring of Honor or is in Ring of Honor legend.
Neek. He'll be the next champion.
All right, I'm ready, Jericho. You and me, let's go. Bring the Italian heat here. But yeah, so getting back to it. Exactly. Bring it back to the AEW side of things. Backstage, we had Swerve Strickland getting interviewed, and he was asked all about that loss that he had at the pay-per-view to Bobby Lashley. Swerve says merely, he rebuilds, and he rebuilds well. Unfortunately, one Mr. Max Caster decided this is the time to kind of walk by and laugh at Swerve Strickland, and we all know you don't mess with Swerve. Swerve's got that demonic side.
You're stupid if you try to.
Absolutely. But Caster does what Caster does best, and he continues to try and rile up Swerve. And he talks about the fact that he beat him in that very town. He beat him in Chicago for the tag titles. And Caster also brings up that he is the self-proclaimed best wrestler in the world. And Strickland doesn't even care to throw any barbs back. Strickland's just here to beat him up. So he attacks him. He throws Caster into a wall. He throws him on some backstage supply crates and into the road cases. And yeah, nothing else speaks volumes for the amount of love that Swerve had received online for destroying Max Caster in front of the world. And it's also worth noting, Bowens and Gunn were nowhere to be found during any of this.
I was curious about that.
That's
Thanks
what I
for
was
saying that.
wondering.
I was gonna say that after. I was shocked to not see either. Maybe they were just in the building, but not for the segment.
I mean, we've seen some of the dissension, Caster
Yeah.
refusing to kind of give a affirmative kind of tap to Billy Gunn. And when Billy Gunn did kind of touch him to congratulate him for a victory, kind of pushed Billy Gunn away on Collision. And we saw him just throw the microphone to Bowens like it didn't even matter to him that they're teaming up. And he hasn't been coming out there and saying good things about the Acclaimed. It's all been about Max Caster and not him and Bowens.
Yeah.
So we got some dissension in the Acclaim. That pair of scissors might be snapping apart soon. Guys, we have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns when it comes to Caster getting obliterated by a Swerve?
That must have hurt. That's all I got.
He found out whose house it is, I'll tell you that much.
But Prince
gonna say
Nana
is
had
this.
his coffee cup too.
All I'm gonna say is this: AEW, please don't split up the Acclaim. Please don't split up my favorite tag team in AEW. Please,
Just
don't do it.
maybe give them like a darker persona for a bit, even.
Yeah, anything, honestly. And when I think about it, Bowens on his own would be so phenomenal, because again, we've talked about this for several weeks now, if not months, the fact that Bowens, when he first started in AEW, he wasn't really a promo guy. That's why him and Caster worked perfectly together. But as time progressed, Bowens really came into his own on the microphone. And now, honestly, he can do it all. He can wrestle. He's got the look. He's got an it factor. When he has the microphone, you genuinely want to hear how loud his pipes can go, because the dude's immense and the dude's awesome and the fans love him. And again, it feels like Bowens has just ascended to all the AEW and wrestling fans compared to Caster, because people enjoyed seeing Caster get annihilated and get beaten up by Swerve. And I think, too, this was a good strategic move on their part, because Swerve, after taking that loss, not that it wasn't a hard-fought match. I mean, you lost to Bobby freaking Lashley, who was an utter monster.
Yeah, it's not just anybody he lost to either.
Exactly, but if you're gonna try to get a guy his heat back, I think beating up Max Caster is the way to go. And speaking of heat, Caster, of course, referencing Swerve's childhood home getting burned down by one Mr. Hangman Adam Page, and coincidentally, that graphic popped up that we're going to be hearing from the Hangman. So let's get right into it. Hangman Adam Page, the fireman himself, he comes to the ring and he is asked about why he did what he did at Full Gear, why he was helping Christian Cage, why he knocked down Christopher Daniels. And Page made a deal with Cage, and fortunately, thank you, see what I did? And Christian, unfortunately, just did not hold up his end of the bargain. So Page is upset at everyone, per usual. Look at the anger and rage in that man's face. When he grabbed that microphone from Tony Schiavone, I remember uttering out loud, "Run, Tony, just get away from him. He's too dangerous." But Page is making it clear that he isn't here in AEW for anything else other than that World Heavyweight Championship for the men's division, of course.
Yeah, I just gonna say that. I'm glad he specified. I mean, I would have thought it was a tag team World Men's Heavyweight Championship. Right?
Yeah, he had to specify on that one. But listen, yeah.
That's all I was gonna say. I was just laughing right now.
But remember, Hangman said that, no one else deserves that title. Not Swerve, not Jay White, not Christian Cage. And you could tell if this was a couple of years back, he probably would have said the same thing about involving a certain Mr. Pepsi Phil. But he didn't go there. I think the gears were turning if he did, but I think Tony would have probably yelled at him for doing so. But anyways, Jay White interrupts and he brings up the match at Full Gear and brings up the match at Wrestle Dream. Jay White has beaten Hangman 5-1 now.
I thought it was. Oh, Jay White. Sorry, I was thinking about somebody else. My bad.
Yeah, but Jay White says that if anyone should and deserves to challenge for that world title, it should be him. And Jay White says that if Hangman Page needs a reminder, that he's going to give him one. And suddenly, we got an attack from Pac, and the Death Riders are now here, and it is just pandemonium. Caesar, don't look at the screen because Mac is shouting bad things about Canada.
Mac.
Don't look.
But yeah, Wheeler Yuta jumps out there to attack Page. Pac's joining in. Marina Shafir comes out. It is the Death Riders taking on Switchblade and the Hangman. It almost seems like, again, that situation of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. These rivals almost are teaming up, but it's no use. The Death Riders just obliterated both of them. Jay White, in particular, was not afraid of locking Marina Shafir up into the Blade Runner, but Jon Moxley sprinted right in there and protected the female assassin of the group. And it was just a 4-on-1 beatdown, and Jay White just stood no chance against the powers of the Death Riders. Guys, there's a lot that happened here. Anything in particular before we get into the next match that you guys have to say about this?
The only thing I want to know is where the hell was Willow Nightingale at this moment?
Right?
Because she returned at Full Gear to take out Marina Shafir. Now, where the hell is she now? Why didn't she not come back down and kick Marina's ass? Because she was the equalizer for Saturday night's pay-per-view. So, what the fuck? Where's Willow at?
That's true. To be fair, I mean, there's no love lost with the conglomeration in those two guys, and Jay White and the Hangman.
You know what's gonna happen, right, Robbie? I'm just gonna say it now. Next week, Marina's going to get involved in something, and Willow's going to come flying out of nowhere and just destroy her. Watch.
Yeah,
don't know how.
I've noticed that.
Don't know how.
I think Tony Khan might be listening to us because sometimes when we question stuff like this, the next week they show back up.
Well,
Yeah.
it's fine if it's spread out rather than repetitive. So if Willow's going to show up next week and just destroy Marina, okay, Tony, you get a pass this week.
Yeah, here's one of the points that was confusing. Of course, we had this big beatdown. John's not here, so we won't be able to hear more about the
Hugs.
We all need a hug, right? But you know what? I don't know, the way Hangman Page was kind of talking about it, it feels like he was under the impression Christian Cage would cash in, get that title shot, and for whatever reason Hangman would get an immediate title shot. Like, his logic there was very confusing because I don't think Christian has that power. But Jay White brings up the legitimate fact that he's got a tremendous record. He beat the Hangman, so if anyone would get that shot, it would be him. And it just went on to make me feel that there's not a whole lot of logic from the Hangman side as there is with Jay White. That being said, it does make sense for Hangman to be illogical because he's crazy. He's in psychopath mode. He's not thinking. He's just going into it for himself, and he's fueled by anger. He's not driven by fear. He's fueled by anger.
I got a question, actually, and this is to you guys, and of course, our awesome audience. You guys are ridiculous. I love it.
He's just driven by anger. What can you say?
He's just pissed off that someone messed up his order at Arby's. That's all it is. No.
You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's a question. Let's just say Christian goes to cash in, but somehow gets screwed. Let's say Hangman takes the contract. Could Hangman sign it and make it himself the title shot? I wonder.
Like, if he just took the contract from Christian?
And then just put pen to paper.
See, that's what I was wondering about, because I think legally binding, you'd think that it's Christian's no matter what, But when they were at the pay-per-view and he was just hesitant to like hand it over, it seemed like that was something that could happen.
Because if that's the case, then Hangman could literally just steal it from him, sign it, and then boom.
To which then, if I was Kip Sabian or Nick Wayne, I would just grab it and then cash it in.
Yeah, because I'm kind of looking at this point of view too. I'm pretty sure inside that contract, it doesn't have this necessarily says that it's a wrestler that has their name literally imprinted onto it. I think it's just whoever signs it, and therefore legally binds that world title match. Because you don't just get the winner and then it says Christian Cage title match so and so. So I think anybody at that point can steal it and sign it, and boom, there goes Cage's title match.
This is why I like the Money in the Bank briefcase better. If you have the case, you hand it to a ref, boom, rings the bell, goes the match. Not this complicated crap.
Yeah. Make sure you got the pen ready to go. Gotta make sure Big Tom's not stalking you through the hallway.
Also, the problem though, you'll never know if Big Tom's stalking you. You'll just be like, and that's it. It's your only chance to look around.
Absolutely. But someone please get the revive on Switchblade when
my god, that's great.
Get the revive.
But yeah, we'll go on to the second chronological Continental Classic, but the third we will be discussing tonight. It is Continental Classic action with the Gold League. Ricochet taking on Claudio Castagnoli. After all of the shenanigans that happened with the Death Riders, I love how Claudio just walks in like it was no big deal. His guys giving him, pats and high fives on the way out. Claudio came in serious and meaning business, though. He walks right into the ring. Ricochet comes to the ring, and guys, let me just say, wrestling has more than one bald competitor, because the crowd was really talking about how shiny both of their heads were, as well as referee Rick Knox. They were just given every possible bald chant you could think of. Maybe bald out, bald in, you name it.
I thought they said this is awful at one point, which I was like, how? Unless this is baldful.
I had the volume low at the point, and I thought they were saying overrated.
No, I didn't hear that one. Like I said, I thought I heard awful, and I'm like, these guys aren't awful. You guys crazy?
Because I was going to say, I'm like, there's no way the Chicago crowd would be chanting. Because I won't lie, I did kind of think that at first, too, because I'm not used to hearing chants like that. So when I was listening, I'm like, this is Chicago. There's no way these two guys did anything to necessitate boring or awful chants, because they're just going to love these two in particular just because it's them and they love their work. But then when I started kind of listening, I'm like, oh, they're talking about their bald. Okay. But gosh,
they need to do a gimmick match with all the bald wrestlers. Just winner gets
Christian Cage, and similar to like that match with Christian Cage and Brian Cage and
Adam Page. Yeah, and they'll call it the match of the cage on the page. Rage in the Cage. Or no, they'll call it something ridiculous like a fail 10-way. There you go.
But yeah, you want to talk about carnage. You want to talk about pandemonium. This was the equivalent of the previous segment, because Claudio and Ricochet went there. Ricochet was getting obliterated. He got crushed out the railing. He got flung into anywhere that you could. Like, Claudio's strength is insane, but don't sell Ricochet short. He kept flying through the air like it was nothing, and that's the way Ricochet does it. Again, speaking of Nick Larocco's page, just shared a reel on Dirt Sheet Radio, so make sure you please go and give me a like on that. I truly
What about that page that we work with? What's that page called again? Starts with a C.
Comicbookclick.com?
There we go. Zing!
Hey, go check that out. We love our cheap plugs on Dirt Sheet Radio. But listen, there is nothing cheap about this match, though. Like, these two guys were going, again, above and beyond. This was another amazing banger of a match. They are two of the absolute best on the AEW roster, some of the best signings AEW could have possibly done. And yeah, these guys had a lot of history together as well. So this was a tremendous match. Castagnoli hits Ricochet with just some super big uppercuts, almost decapitating the poor man. And Ricola bomb, pin attempt, nothing. But Castagnoli ends up sending Ricochet to the outside before slamming him into everything you could possibly see. Getting him back in the ring, and it's lariat time for Claudio to get a 1-2-3 victory. Guys, overall, what do we think of this match? Caesar?
I had a blast. again, like at first when I heard listening to them, I thought they were saying this is awful and all those kind of things, and I still couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Then I believe it was you that actually pointed out they were talking about ball chants, and I was like, oh, okay.
It was either me or it was our one and only leader, John Escudero.
Yeah, because actually it was, never mind. Yeah. But the match itself, like when it comes to these Continental matches, you can only do one thing only. Sit down and put your feet up. Because shit's gonna go down. Doesn't matter who it is, whether you've known them forever, you've known them for a match or two. Shit's gonna go down.
Oh yeah.
So you basically have to be like, okay, 20 minutes, I'm gonna sit here, and one of two things are gonna happen. And thankfully, we got the one thing that happened where we had a winner. So I'm just excited for next week's spoiler alert with Claudio and Brody King. That's gonna be something.
Absolutely, that's gonna be awesome. That's a banger itself. Battle of the Behemoths.
Oh,
Robbie?
yeah. And for me, it was what we all think it was, a bald banger. I loved that match from start to finish. It was really great. We know both how good Claudio and Ricochet are. Both men athletic, both men agile. And in Claudio's case, his power killed the speed of Ricochet in that match. The counters in that match were phenomenal. The spots on the guardrail where Ricochet is getting crotched, and then you see that big lariat. I'm surprised that Claudio's been using a lariat a lot. It's been on the JBL level of the clothesline from hell as of late.
Yeah.
But
It's been hard and brutal.
But I also kind of pose the question now. Ever since Ricochet came in, he started out hot. But do you guys think at this point now, after losing to Takeshita, losing to Takeshita in the triple threat with Ospreay as well, him losing the Ospreay as well, with that as well too, it seems like Ricochet's been on a little bit of like a singles match losing streak just about, where it's like his heat is kind of slowly going away. Honestly, I don't know why it seems like, but when you usually want to bring in somebody that's fairly new, especially with the caliber of Ricochet, who just came over from the WWE, what's going on here? Because honestly, I feel like it's Ricochet's momentum is going down with each loss he's been taking.
What if it's by design and it's one of those things where he starts getting onto that losing streak, and the one person that can help turn it around is MVP if he comes in and joins that Hurt Syndicate?
I like that idea.
I mean, I wouldn't be against that.
That's kind of where I was thinking this is going to go. That kind of brings up something I'm going to talk about in a little bit when we get there. But Caesar, what were you going to say?
Sorry. I know we're on this boat already, but I will throw this one into the mix. Ricochet or Leo? Are we all on the Ricochet boat, or are we thinking Leo could be a better fit for the Hurt Syndicate?
Honestly, I can say they can have more than 4 members. I say you can bring both on. Why not? Leo has a background, Bobby, and Ricochet would be a nice set piece too. Why not have 5 of them? I
mean, Ricochet I could see, but I feel like Leo might try and be a mouthpiece too as a wrestler. So that's my 2 cents. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what I could see happening. I mean, MVP is a great mouthpiece for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when it comes to just overall, I feel like Ricochet just feels like the better fit. But that's nothing against like Leo Rush. Like, Leo's a tremendous talker. He's a tremendous wrestler, and like you said, Robbie, why not throw them both? Porque no los dos, So
yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. Why not make the Hurt Syndicate just a huge group?
My only actual beef with that is like if they're gonna put a bunch of dudes in there, maybe throw a woman in there to like be a monster against the women of the company.
Yes, there was that social media video from a couple weeks ago where MVP did give Queen Aminata one of the cards. So,
which I think I like to feel that there's a woman's spot. I wanted to be Queen Aminata at that point.
Well,
that would be huge for her.
Who else could they put in there besides her? Nobody, right?
Well, that's a good question. I do think they could throw in Athena. They could try to go that route.
If you're going that way, I'm going Aminata full send. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I can.
But honestly, there's nobody else I can think possibly besides like a former champion that can
Neek,
probably go in
I'm
that
just gonna
mix.
join.
I would. If they gave me a
Neek's
card,
from
I
Muscle.
absolutely would. Too bad she's already in a group because honestly, like Marina Shafir would have been the total good choice. Yeah, I'm just looking at the women's roster right now. And when it comes down to some of the bigger and stronger brawlers, Camille's just been freed up.
I wouldn't put her with them.
You know what? They could also go. Unfortunately, for Caesar's sake, they probably could put Monet in there too,
No, her
because she
and
was almost getting recruited as well.
her
They have
and
had interactions together.
her and MVP would clash so hard. If I'm being honest, because MVP is a mouthpiece and a good one, and Mercedes just loud. So, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'd say. Sorry, Robbie Max.
Oof. Max is doing
Damn
low
it, Mac! Damn it, Mac!
Talking
What did I
about
do to
Canada.
you?
Robbie, what's next? Is Neek next? Oh boy.
Oh, as Spooky Ghost that belongs on the WCW Halloween Havoc 1998 stream. Again,
Oh yeah.
go check that out as we cheap plug. But we mentioned this earlier with the Blue League. Let's look at that Gold League. So now we have Claudio and Brody King each getting a victory, and the Battle of the Behemoths will take place next week. So we'll see which one gets 6 points, which one gets 3, or maybe they get a draw and they each get 4 points. We'll see how that goes. But guys, who do we think are going to be the two to take it all the way and go to World's End, representing the Gold League?
I wouldn't be against Brody. That'd be pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, I can also agree with that too. For me, there's 2 possible scenarios with this one here, and for me, it could be Ricochet, it could be Will Ospreay, Claudio, or Darby.
Now, I got a question for you guys because we are on this amazing podcast called Dirt Sheet Radio, live every day on Wednesday.
Hey.
Who would be the too obvious answer of a pick? Would it be, dare we say, Ospreay would be too obvious?
I think Ospreay's definitely the obvious choice. And when it comes down to Okada being on the Blue League, I think you have to have Ospreay in the Gold League if you're going to have those two up at the head at some point.
So if you didn't put Ospreay as like the obvious pick, Darby Okada. Okay, I'm digging that. I mean, okay. Let's do what team did a minute ago. If you guys had to pick top 3, who would you pick?
Top 3 for gold?
For gold, yeah.
Oh man, if it was up to me, I would definitely go with Ricochet, Ospreay, and Darby. This is tough because then you want to keep Claudio looking big and strong for being in the Death Riders too.
Yeah. And that's why for me, the top 3 would probably have to be Ospreay, Castagnoli, and Allen. Darby and Claudio, they got a feud going as well with the whole Death Riders thing. Plus, if you want to pull that trigger with Ospreay and Okada, or that potential rematch between Ospreay and Fletcher, you can also pull the trigger on Ospreay as well.
Dare I say Brody, Ospreay, and Darby?
That's fair.
I like that.
Brody's a freaking monster. Ospreay can go in between, and Darby's a small dude, but he can fly and do work. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but I don't think Juice is going out of the whole.
No, I think unfortunately Juice will probably be the fall guy for the vast majority of this.
I hate nothing against Juice, but I think he's the guy who's just kind of there.
I think at that point he's going to be basically the Mark Briscoe of this part of the league, where he's going to give us good matches, but he's definitely not going to go all the way.
I'm saying this now. I'm making this fair prediction, and that's nothing against him. If his first 2 matches are both L's, he's done. I'm saying it now.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at how this is all set up, I can agree with that. There's no way that even Juice can beat Brody King without help of Jay White.
He can go with Brody, but Brody will basically stomp him. Ricochet could give him a good match. It won't be the best for Juice, but it'll be a good match. Ospreay will just go to town. Claudio will throw him, and Darby will do crazy flippy flips. So Yeah.
In the world where that one kind of aspect I mentioned, where Ricochet would lose a bunch of hard fought matches, mind you, like he wouldn't be like he's getting crushed, but they'd be hard fought matches that he would lose in the end. I could see that leading to him being one of the guys to not make it, and then they can lead to something like Hurt Syndicate being there to improve his win-loss record afterwards. And then in that instance, I would say Darby, Claudio, Ospreay is my top 3 there.
Oh yeah,
See,
for sure.
my actual picks were supposed to be Brody, Neek, and Darby, but
Woo!
Neek didn't make it originally, which is
Yeah, I know, showed, unfortunately.
another year where we all can't have Neek win.
Oh, I promise. I'll be there next year, guys. Don't worry.
Like, quit!
I'll be there next year. Just wait. All right, guys. But, that's... I enjoyed talking tournament. I'm excited to talk more about this and see what happens next week. Yeah, as everything goes on and we get the results from Collision as well. So moving on, we have Adam Cole, baby, speaking about just the situation that's gone on with MJF and MJF defeating Roddy. And he is just in a whole other world. We talked about Hangman being in psycho mode. We talked about the darkness within Swerve Strickland's heart, but we look at Adam Cole, baby, and he is vowing that he will beat MJF within an inch of his life, basically getting as close as you can to that proverbial murder threat that you shouldn't necessarily try to deliver on, but people in AEW try that all the time because violence has meaning here. But Kyle O'Reilly comes out and says that Adam Cole, baby, should instead let him be the one to fight MJF. And Cole is cutting him off, and he says, Kyle O'Reilly, you know what? You were right. And Cole says that he just instead, though, doesn't want his friends to fight his battles, though. He was right about everything leading up to this, but Adam Cole wants to be the one to finally take it to MJF, like he missed out on at Full Gear when Roddy was able to get his 3 victories leading up to that match. And MJF just came in on the screen, playing piano, playing his own theme song on the piano at that. I don't know if anyone caught that. But
was he actually playing though?
That's the question of the day.
I'm a music nerd, and I was looking at like his hands. I'm like, I really want to know if he was playing.
See, that's why I wanted to ask you that, because you're the music guy.
Yeah, like, okay, I've watched all these movies, all these TV shows and stuff, and I'm like, you always look at them, and if they move their hands a certain way, then you kind of go, huh. Just like when you watch like anime or like. Like kung fu movies, when they move too many camera cuts, it's not actually the same person. When they do one continuous shot, you go, okay, it is the same person.
Right.
So I'm on the fence. Like, if MJF can play, bravo, kudos. If he can't, bravo, kudos.
He is musically inclined, but he's also very much an entertainer and a show. So either way,
it's not hard to fake playing a few notes just to look like you know how to do it.
Right.
But again, if you can play, that's awesome. It sells the character more.
Absolutely. But, speaking of the character, MJF was bringing up that Dynamite Diamond Ring because guess what? Next week, it'll be time for yet another year of the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal for that Dynamite Ring that only MJF has won over the years.
It's going down. We're saying it now. Neek's number 1 entrant. It's official.
I'm ready.
He's winning the diamond. What's it called again?
Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Dynamite Diamond Ding.
It's easy for you to say.
Dynamite Diamond. Damn it!
Dynamite Dozen.
Dynamite Dozen Diamond Ring.
Diamondite?
You're doing great.
Ring.
You know what's stupid is I'm thinking of that company that makes protein that's called Dymatize.
Still Dymatize.
Dynamitize. So, Dynamitize, diamond. Skip.
You did your best, and that's all I've ever asked. But you know what? This is time for that Dynamite Diamond Ring, Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. Lots of D's there. But you know what? MJF is putting out that gauntlet. It's going to be Battle Royal time soon. So he's trying his hardest not to think about these two as he goes into defending his ring against 11 other guys. But Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole Bebe both enter themselves into that battle royal because you can just do that. So we got 3 confirmed names for it already: MJF, Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly. 9 more to go, so we'll find out a little bit more about that as time progresses. But guys, do we see anyone who isn't MJF taking the battle royal, or do we think it's yet another year of MJF?
I hope he loses this year on purpose, but like in a dirty finish where he gets screwed horribly.
I'm torn up about this too. And that is, I can see them making MJF win because it's part of the gimmick as well, with him holding those diamond rings a lot, because it does fit him too. When he does win that battle royal, it fits the character perfectly.
Right.
I can also see them getting Adam Cole to win to get MJF pissed off to finally get us the rematch between MJF and Adam Cole.
See, this is my 2 cents. If we're gonna have MJF win a lot of the battle royales, what if we do it where he wins or loses this year and he goes on a rampage to win next year and like builds up all of a sudden until next year's battle royale? Kind of like a break between each win, but he gets lots of wins, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember too, the way the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royals typically go is, 2 guys get that victory once the other 10 get eliminated. So most likely MJF will be one of the 2. Who do we see being that second person to win the Battle Royal? Do we think it'll be O'Reilly? Do we think it'll be Adam Cole Bebe? Or instead of KOR or Coleslaw, do we think it could also be maybe a different person that no one's expecting?
Wardlow.
Oh, who has something to do with Adam Cole as well, and any other conglomeration members that might be in it?
I just hope when they do it, they actually feature some like international talent just to spin it a bit.
I also could think too, somebody that can take that ring is no other than the man that's in the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita as well. If he's announced to be in it, I think Takeshita might take it.
He's used the ring before.
I hope they don't announce too many people. They make it, speculation. That'd be more exciting, I'd say. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Who is it? Music starts. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and truly too, when you look at the list of the people that did make it into the final, it's definitely a who's who representation. MJF and Adam Page in 2019, 2020 MJF and Orange Cassidy, 2021 MJF and Dante Martin. And then 2022, MJF and Ricky Starks. 2023, MJF and Juice Robinson.
We know who's definitely not going to be a part of that battle royal, and it's no other than Ricky Starks. Unfortunately.
Yep. Is that too soon?
Some people had to talk too much.
Yeah.
But all in all, though, regardless, whoever gets that second spot, it's definitely a who's who, and it can be career making, especially when you look at the years that those guys won. Dante Martin getting it in 2021, that was his breakout year.
I actually want to throw something in here.
Ooh, is this a wild card?
The wild card for me is somebody that just got cleared, and maybe he's swerving us a bit because he said that he wasn't gonna come back till he's done filming. Maybe it's Adam Copeland could also be coming into this battle royal as well.
Ooh,
that would be cool.
Robbie sees clearly.
The swerve, that would be a great swerve where he's like, "Oh, don't worry, no, I'm not gonna be done filming Percy Jackson." But what if he actually comes back next week and takes someone out at that point? Which honestly, I kind of want to see him go after Christian Cage once again, because it's just fun seeing those two go at it.
Fight forever. Hear me out. What happens if this man is in the other end of the battle royal? And again, this is my wild card, widely out there, but imagine if it happened. The guy standing on the very other end in the nice black suit, Bobby Lashley.
Ooh.
Well, it's official. That happens.
Bobby's winning that.
Man. Everyone's gonna die.
Imagine that is just, again, instant credibility if Bobby Lashley's the first person to prevent MJF from getting that ring.
It'd be insane is if Bobby was the first entrant. I'd quit on the spot from the match.
In the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, isn't it usually they all start in the ring together?
But could you imagine if they did it that way that one year?
Like Gauntlet style?
Yeah, Bobby's the first guy, and everyone's like, hell no.
What is happening
What is
to
that?
the music here?
I love this song.
Julia Hart, is that you?
Finally.
I mean, hey, you know what? Let's get over to that. Thank you for the hip hop taking on over. But yeah, so as we move back through the show, International Women's Cup qualifier semifinal. This is going to be for a Wrestle Dynasty title shot for the International Women's Cup. Is Jamie Hayter taking on Queen Aminata? I could see either one of these ladies absolutely excelling in Japan, but Hayter and Aminata, they battled it out at the very beginning and middle and the end because these two just went to town. Like, you would think they were trying to kill the other woman because it was hard hits, hard kicks. It was rally after rally as each woman was able to counter and fight back from the other. But Aminata just didn't have enough experience to be able to hold her own up against Jamie Hayter, who gets another amazing lariat finish to get that victory. Not much time to celebrate the victory, though, as the lights have then gone out, teasing the return of Julia Hart. Unfortunately, though, Julia Hart does not come out. So more mind games are being played on Jamie Hayter.
Late to the taping.
She is just like, yeah, Chicago can be scary. What can I say?
I mean, she is scary, so.
She is.
But guys, all in all, what did we think of this match? I personally thought this was a banger. This was absolute, complete, utter, brute force, devastation, whatever you want to call it. In 15 seconds, both ladies just tore the house down. Cedar?
That's all I've got, honestly. Like, I'm getting more and more impressed with seeing seeing Aminata every week or so. Sure, she's not getting like this big this or this big that, but she's getting a good rub, and it's good to see. So I'm looking forward to keeping her on TV rather than just like, oh, one match and then she's gone. It's more like, here's like 3 matches for the month, and then you're a couple weeks off, we'll say, go do your thing for a bit and then come back again. So yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah, and as Caesar had pointed out, it was a wonderful match. And honestly, they kind of let me gotten hyped for the International Women's Cup coming up at Wrestle Dynasty too. Because the way those two went at it, and story-wise, it shows you what this International Women's Cup means for whoever is going to be representing AEW for it as well. And the line of names that is going to be part of that International Women's Cup is going to be phenomenal, and I can't wait to see. And if I actually have a prediction, I think Jamie Hayter is going to take it all. And maybe this is where they will pull the trigger with the return of Julia Hart, and that is at Wrestle Dynasty in January.
This sounds so evil.
Well, you know what? It's getting evil because we had some sinister vibes from Julia Hart, but we continue on with the betrayal. In an interview, Mina Shirakawa was talking about Mariah May turning on her and betraying her and not thinking her former rose gold partner was who she was. She called Mariah May selfish, but Mariah May snuck up from behind, broke a freaking wine bottle, a champagne bottle over the back of Mina's head. That's killed people before. So Mariah May then starts whipping her with the title and just, again, is pure evil walking towards the camera. She looks like she just doesn't care for the damage she's done. She's only in it for herself. And commentary had confirmed that at Winter is Coming, it will be a rose gold battle between Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa.
Do we see her taking the belt off of Mariah?
I don't know if it's necessarily time for that, but I do potentially see this being when a Mrs. Tony Storm comes back for the Winter Storm, if you will.
I mean, what if Mariah wins it and then, Mina wins it and Mariah and Tony have their grudge match? How about that idea?
That is a possibility. Honestly, I say because it's at a.
You're going.
I say it's because it's at a Winter is Coming event, and it's on basically on a Dynamite, essentially. I think Mariah May will defend it. But however, Tony Storm doesn't come back just yet until the rematch for Mina and Mariah May, and then Tony Storm costs Mariah May the title and helps Mina win at a pay-per-view of some sort. Don't know when yet, but I say not yet, but it's due within time that Mina becomes champion at some point.
Crazy, very far out there idea I have.
Oh no, an idea.
What?
Idea.
What if this has all just been a ruse from the beginning, just to get her Rose Gold partner title shot and to draw out Tony Storm, and Rose Gold truly still is together because they know a little bit about Hollywood showwomanship, right?
Yeah.
How did Mina know what was going to happen? Just turning around instantly when the time came? They both were ready to jump off of the ramp? I don't know. It might be a little out there, but anything's possible, especially in Hollywood.
If that's the case, then that was a great swerve on us and a great work, and it's better than a damn poke of doom.
I mean,
At
Mina
that
looked
point.
amazing at the pay-per-view, and then looked good tonight too, so it's a double win.
Absolutely. I mean, most likely, this is going to be, I'm wrong, but this is going to absolutely kill. This is going to be a banger of a match, and I am excited to see what happens.
And I'm going to make my name called on this one, too. Blood will be drawn in this match,
Oh,
for
yes,
sure.
there will be blood.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna get involved in the match.
All right, Caesar, it's your time to shine.
Sweet.
But hey, that has been the episode number 269 of AEW Dynamite. Again, what an amazing show. We're going to have a tough time here going through our segments. Hey, let's see if the lo-fi music is working now that we got through all that evil, sinister stuff. All right, there we go. It's not just random static. Hey, we love to see it. We love to hear it. But it is now time for what is going to probably be one of the most difficult ones yet, our picks for Jobber of the Night, powered by comicbookclick.com. You're in the nerd culture. Hey, you're here watching a wrestling show. Make sure you go and check out comicbookclick.com for all kinds of pop culture, comic book, video game, and pro wrestling news. But whew, this is going to be a tough one, guys, because I don't even know where to go. If you guys have any choices, though, Robbie, we can start with you on this one.
This is gonna be hard, but since everybody kind of brought their A game tonight, I think I'm just gonna go for a kayfabe jobber of the night, and that kayfabe jobber of the night is actually gonna be Hangman Adam Page for even trying to trust Christian Cage, because why would you trust Christian Cage? He's a slime ball for a reason. Everybody knows when you watch Christian Cage for the past 30 years of his career, you can't trust him. He's a backstabber. Any deal he's going to make it to benefit him and only him in the lines of kayfabe. So in kayfabe jobber of the night, it is the lack of trust for Hangman Adam Page towards Christian Cage. Because at that point, why did you trust him?
Right.
That makes sense, yeah.
Caesar?
Well, I just thought about it halfway through your thing, because Robbie made a good point, but mine's not a kayfabe, mine's the actual thing. I'm going with our boy Tony Schiavone for an actual reason. We're getting bullied by two different people tonight. Goddamn.
Yeah, he was having a streak going of not getting bullied for a while.
Hangman, I can understand because, Hangman's a loose cannon, but Mercedes, bro, come on. But whatever. Tony's my jobber. But now the question is, who is Neek's jobber?
When it comes to jobber, oh man, I can't think of a single person who wrestled tonight who's going to be my jobber, so I'm going to go and take it in a different direction. And I am going to say, after getting annihilated backstage, Max Caster will be my jobber of the night, because if anyone could be qualified there compared to everyone we saw, it had to be him. So unfortunately, sorry, Max, it is you.
He's going to make a rap about you next week.
Hey,
that stupid guy Neek on the show.
All right, that's it, Max Caster. I'll see you in that Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal.
Dude, I'll help you win that Battle Royale.
Let's go. All right, the Dirt Sheet Radio boys interfering. Let's do this.
Robbie's going to have a chair.
I go with the chair, hit it in the stomach.
No, you're just going to take the chair and do 360s with it.
Damn skippy.
Ready. My boys, let's go.
Matt Caster, I'm going for that Fantaminator on you. Watch out.
And here's the best part. For no apparent reason. We're just going to put John in a stupidly expensive suit just to be there.
Let's do it.
I'm ready. Literally be there in a suit.
Yeah, he's
my
MVP.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. He's the mouthpiece of the group.
John's going to have what are those called? What are those fancy shades called? There's a company. What's an R? Oh my
R.
god. I don't know. It's a fancy company, but like their shades are like stupidly priced. Apparently, I heard.
Raycons, I think. No, it's not
No.
Raycons. That's headphones. Ray-Bans.
Anyways, there we go.
Ray-Bans.
That's the one.
Yes.
That's what it was. Yeah, I've been
I
seeing
think I'm
everywhere.
wearing Ray-Ban's glasses right now. I need them to see. But hey, let's see who our megastars of the night are, presented by the Cold Case Project. My brother Tony runs Cold Case Project. That's on YouTube, and it's also on Spotify. It's a channel that focuses on all kinds of disappearances, murders, and other cold cases for those of you who likes a lot of true crime content.
True kind.
And we got some binge-worthy stuff on there too, for 30-minute, hour-long, 2-hour-long stuff. You name it, it's on there. But Megastar of the night, going in reverse order. Man, oh man, this was definitely a tough one. But if I had to pick anyone, the dude who looked amazing tonight, especially from the match he had to his moment after,
Yeah.
is freaking Brody King.
Oh,
Like,
that's a good one.
He was a
good one. That's
brute.
solid.
He was a killer, and the way he decided, you know what? No, I'm going back in there. It's one of those moments where you team up with the person you are feuding with that always just makes my heart pump extra beats because it's just so good. So, got to give a huge shout out to Brody King. He was a monster in the match, but he was a big softy afterwards when he went back in to defend Darby and to basically set up for the battle of the behemoths. Caesar?
Do I even have to explain mine tonight? Do I actually have to explain? Seriously, do I have to explain mine tonight? You two can literally take it for me. Try.
The force is with you, Robbie.
I'm gonna say this. Is it Camille?
Duh!
Yep.
If everyone's been watching this show for the past every week, exclusively on this channel, thank you. That's the beginning of the end when she's like, I am so screwed. I'm sorry, but like I've hated seeing Camille with their Mercedes, and I just want to see Camille stomp a mud hole in Mercedes going forward. So
hell yeah.
okay, I'm gonna have 2 beers next to me when I'm watching the show. The moment she does that, I'm just gonna like smash them together and start chugging like a psycho. But anyways, Robbie, who's your mega star of the night?
I'm Megastar of the night. He's representing no other than the Death Riders. It ain't John Moxley. It's not Marina Shafir. It ain't Pac. It's not Wheeler. But it's no other than the Swiss Superman himself, Claudio Castagnoli. And that is because of the fact of Tony Khan gave these two time tonight, and Claudio and Ricochet both, but most importantly, Claudio took that time and he went with it. He went through the whole 9 yards in this match. The way that he's such a beast in this match and used his power over Ricochet, the spots they were doing, crotching Ricochet on that beautiful guardrail, to that beautiful lariat, that Stan Hansen.
Yeah.
That Stan Hansen, that JBL-like clothesline, that lariat. Claudio is just a freak of nature. There's a reason why they call him the Swiss Superman. I don't get to say it too often because I don't get to see Claudio wrestle that often and get to talk about him anywhere else. So saying that Claudio Castagnoli is my megastar of the night, the proof is in the pudding. For those who think that that's not true, go back and watch that match tonight against Ricochet because Claudio was definitely a freaking beast tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely, man. Oh, and now comes probably what's going to be the hardest for all of us is the match of the night, brought to you by the Delphin Pod podcast. Go and check that out. Of course, Revenge of the Sequel. You got the Major Issues show. And hey, Dirt Sheet Radio, we're always on. And you might be able to check out the Dirt Sheet Radio podcast in a couple hours. Thanksgiving edition.
Ooh.
But honestly, before we get into this, I just want to preface by saying all 10 wrestlers tonight left it in the ring. Like, you can't find a bad match tonight. So if you haven't seen the show and you're trying to learn a little bit more about it by watching us, like, again, I highly will personally recommend myself every single match tonight.
For sure.
I'm being completely honest. Both of us agree with you. There wasn't really like a bad match. It was more like up and down moments during every match. Whether it was like a moment where they slowed down for a minute, Ricochet getting his ricochets squished, the amount of blood pooled during the ROH match, take your pick.
Yeah.
You can't have a bad. It was all
Yeah.
mid to great. So
Yeah, and like every match delivered in a unique and different way. And I appreciate that as much as I appreciate Mac. Happy Neeksgiving.
I'll be giving to you, Mac. We love you.
Oh my gosh, but yeah, this is going to be a tough one to pick just one because like I said, all 5 knocked it out of the park in their own way. But Robbie, if you had to pick one though, what would it be?
For mine, for me, it's gonna be Queen Aminata and Jamie Hayter. Those 2 women, they went at it tonight. They actually made me care about the International Women's Cup coming up at Wrestle Dynasty
January
because
5th.
those 2 just went at it tonight. It
Yeah.
was a very great professional wrestling match, very technical. Everybody knows I love me some technical wrestling. I love seeing that on the day to day, and seeing too of what Queen Aminata can do. Please push Aminata. She gets better week in, week out. She puts the work in. And with Jamie Hayter, you can't hate on Hayter, man, because
Right.
Jamie is good also every single week. It's great to see her being put into a match where she's going to get more time and then prove to you why at one point Jamie Hayter was a former AEW Women's Champion. And also, I love the fact that everything is going to eventually tie into Julia Hart versus Jamie Hayter at some point down the line, and I'm there for it. That is my match of the night.
That's a great choice, Caesar.
Oh, we're actually picking matches. Oh, damn. Kidding. In all honesty, no. Everything delivered, but if I'm gonna give it to one, I don't think you wait. What was yours again, Neek?
I didn't go yet.
Oh, okay, good. So I'll go with the Brody King Darby Allin match. I had 2 on the ready. I was like, which one sounds better? But I give it more to like the Darby and Brody match because how it goes when it's like, again, it's 2 guys opposite ends of the spectrum, one small, one big, and of course they had sportsmanship at the start of the match, which I'm a huge fan of. Especially even though like both the guys, it's really cool to see. The part that added the extra little bit though was when at the end Brody's like, "Oh hell no, I just crushed him, but you're not coming back in and trying to fight him." So yeah, kudos to both those guys.
Yeah, I don't know, Caesar. Like you said too, you get that added aspect too because we've seen Brody King literally go out of his way to attack Darby, even outside of AEW. Attacking him at autograph signings and concerts.
Yeah,
and the fact that now, after Darby finally after years of trying, has defeated Brody King, and now Brody has that respect for Darby to where I'll shake this man's hand before and after the match, and no, Claudio, I won't let you attack him again. Like, I'm going to stand up to you. That is always the coolest thing to me. When even the bad guy's had enough and wants to step up against the other bad guy. It's always one of the coolest tropes. But, like you were talking about, Caesar, with sportsmanship before and after, I got to go with 2 amazing veterans who stole the show at the very beginning. I got to go with Mark Briscoe and Shelton Benjamin. Those 2 guys, they just went at it. And, you could tell they were the 2 most experienced in this whole tournament, I believe. And yeah, both these guys left it all in the ring, just like everyone else tonight. But, this was a great way to open the show and a great way to kickstart the entirety of the Continental Classic, in my opinion.
It was a great way. It was a wonderful way to kick it off.
Absolutely. And, you got the guy with Mark Briscoe who's, there to get his come up, and he wants to get his payback from last year's event where he only got 1 victory over Jay Lethal, and that was it. And the fact that he's already starting it with a loss, we're going to be seeing a lot more there. Maybe he has self-doubts. Maybe, he's just going to try to do whatever he can. Maybe we might see some non-Mark Briscoe things coming up in here. Who knows? And the fact that we got Shelton freaking Benjamin, the standard of excellence, being able to show off again what he can do. It's just, again, phenomenal to see these guys. And I'll always think back to Shelton, again, jumping up on the top rope and throwing Mark Briscoe clear across the ring. The sheer power that Shelton Benjamin possesses is scary. And I'm glad that Shelton is also being booked to look like a serious and utter threat, because he absolutely is. Not just in this tournament, but in all of AEW. So kudos to the booking for Shelton Benjamin. And again, I personally hope this continues, because I would love to see Shelton take it all the way and be one of the top guys in his league. But if we didn't have any other thing to throw out there, those were our matches of the night. And fellas, I had a lot of fun hanging out with you on this U.S. Thanksgiving Eve
It's
chat.
always fun.
It was great hanging out with you. And like we said earlier, this is Dirt Sheet Radio. We are always on. So
We're live.
Exactly. If you want to, go back and watch the rest of this episode, if you missed anything, we talked about the main event at the very start of the show. But hey, we also talked about every other wrestling show. So if you want to go to the beginning of the week on Mondays, we always talk about Monday Night Raw. On Tuesdays, we always look at NXT. Love seeing that updated graphic there.
Holy moly.
You're already here. You know about the Dynamite post-show rewind. And hey,
the show.
The best
show, exactly. If you want to stick around for the exclusive
late night,
hey, we got the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship podcast. We're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving with you. That's me. Then we got myself on the right. We got Greg Thomas on the left. And right there in the middle is John Escudero. We got to figure out a way to add Mac to that because he is also a part of it. You saw Mac in the comments there. But hey, when we continue through the week, you also got Thursdays for TNA Impact. Not sure if there's going to be any TNA stuff with Thanksgiving, but hey, we'll let you know if there's anything good, bad, or ugly going on there. And of course, SmackDown. We got Friday Nick Mac John as the SmackDown recap boys get together on another Friday to talk about anything and everything SmackDown. This past Friday, myself, Robbie, and Mac discussed Halloween Havoc, WCW Halloween Havoc 1998. It's a show with one of the best entrance stages of all time, but honestly, it started to kind of fall apart as the show progressed. Was the show as bad as we remembered? Hey, make sure you go and check it out and listen to everything we talked about, all of the news going in and going out of the event, and we talked about a lot of the trivia going on during the event. So again, you don't want to miss that. Go check that out. It's in all of our archives on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you also, at the end of the week, want to talk about CJ and Tyler's Level Up. They're going to be leveling up the conversation, talking about professional wrestling in some capacity. And again, talking about pro wrestling, we got the 3NT lads over there. They're going to be exactly. It's crisp and it's cool. And they will be talking all about professional wrestling, just like we did here. So yeah, go and check that out and chat. Again, if you enjoyed hanging out with us, my name is Nick Larocco. You're going to see me on all of the Dirt Sheet Radio channels and platforms, but especially you'll notice some Nick Larocco posts on Facebook, like I mentioned earlier. So if you wouldn't mind giving me some likes and some follows, I will truly appreciate it. I love being able to talk to you guys in the comments. Can't always respond to everyone, but hey, if you reach out, I will try my best to talk with you, or at the very least, like whatever you commented on there. So again, I truly appreciate it. Guys, where are they going to find you, Caesar?
Well, as always, I'm hanging out with these two gentlemen and John Escudero every Wednesday on the Dynamite recap. And then, as always, I'm hanging out with Tyler and CJ, and as always, John, doing the Monday Night Raw review. If you feel like talking to me on the social medias, my handle's right there at NoobTube. I name all the platforms, but there's like way too many to name, and I don't want to be here for the next 2-3 hours. What I do want to know is, Robbie, where can we find you next time?
For me as well, you guys can find me on Facebook, Robert Rourke. I'm also down there in the DSR post as well, commenting, liking, subscribing, whatever you might want to do. And you also can find me on Instagram as well. Honestly, I keep saying the same username, but I'm going to keep it short because honestly, my real name is connected to Facebook as well with my Instagram. So just look up my name there. And honestly, don't be afraid to shoot anything my way when it comes to questions or stuff you want me to share or want to talk about. Definitely throw it my way, and I'll try to answer you with a busy schedule as well.
Absolutely. Chat, again, well, thank you so much for joining us on this U.S. Thanksgiving Eve. Guys, this was one of the biggest shows we've had recap-wise and stream and viewer-wise, so this is awesome. We appreciate hanging out with you guys and talking all about AEW Dynamite. But for myself, for John Escudero, for Robbie, for Caesar, and for everyone else on the Dirt Sheet Radio staff, we would like to especially wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you eat all the turkey that you possibly can. Don't drink and drive, and be safe, be happy, be healthy. I think I'm going to get sued for saying that, but you know what? It's Thanksgiving, so who really cares? But yeah, chat. Thank you so much for joining us, like I said, and I think it's time that we rock out as we leave this. Let's pop back on some Lore of the Fighter, and we'll hit that.
Hell yeah.
We'll hit that lovely thank you graphic.
Let's go.
That music. Let's go. Play it.
All right, chat. Once again, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me